what? I am bright. I never thought I was bright. I never thought I was bright. But that transfer shifted my mind. Because out of me changing my perception, I started performing better.
Oh, that is so deep.
For real, it flipped my course.
Now we start and we go all the way.
So,
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to another session of the Playhouse. As you can see, and this is my take 2. It's been a minute since I did this, so the jitters are there. I'm messing up. It is an absolute pleasure to see each and every single one of you. Yeah, I know it's been a while since I did this, and I have to start off by just saying thank you. Thank you to each and every single one of you who has been in my DMs, stressing me and asking me, when is the Playhouse coming back? Thank you for all of you who have rewatched some. Thank you for all of you who are watching series that you have not watched. Thank you for all of you who've donated. Thank you for all of you who've stopped me to just ask me, Yani, is everything okay? Is CTA coming back? You're a blessing. You've been a blessing, and it's grateful to come back. I've missed doing this. Why even lie? I was talking to my guest today, and I'll tell you who he is. Yeah, I've already told you that he. I was talking to my guest today, and I was telling him, I've really missed doing this, man. I've missed sitting down and having, Aaron called it intra-conversations with people. It's been over a year since we last did this, but you know what? The wait is over, and we are back. We're back, bigger, better, and with a few more innovative things. First and foremost, you see this gadget here? I've got some exciting news for you. If you have an Oculus or if you've got a VR headset, you can actually join us. We are shooting this not only flat in the way that some of you are watching this, most of you are watching this, but then we're also shooting this in 3D. What am I trying to say? I'm just simply trying to say that check into the description, click on the link. We are also going to upload the full 360. We're going to be uploading a lot of 360 videos, and in all of them, if you want to know if a video is 360, we'll just put in brackets 360, meaning that you can have an experiential, you can join us, you can be seated here with us, seeing what's happening behind, seeing the cameraman, seeing our guest, and seeing myself. Yeah, because some of you want like this new advanced technology, so feel free to join us from a 360 perspective. Number 2, we are at an absolutely amazing venue in the heart of the city, in the heart of Nairobi city. For those of you who are wondering where this is, we are in Kileleshwa, in the heart of a city, at an amazing Airbnb called Kyoto Place. Be sure to check it out. This is first and foremost, this is 3 bedrooms. 3 bedrooms here. There's 4 beds, so basically in one room, in case you've got family, there's 2 beds that have also been put in one room. It is bang in the heart of the city. African decor, as you can see on the screen happening right now. Amazing space, accessibility to everywhere and anywhere within the city. And as you can see, we're shooting, so it's not noisy, nice and quiet. So if you're looking for a venue, as you can clearly see on the screen, look no further. All details in the description. The link to the Airbnb is in the description. So just go there, click it, and enjoy the amazing place. A big thank you. So who is our guest today? He is an amazing individual. Me and this guy go way back like cornrows. We go back like spine. We go back like the big bad wolf, man. Yani, we go back like crazy. In my first music video, when I first joined the industry as a rapper who has now left the game for over 15 years, when I first joined my first ever music video, Close Your Eyes, this guy featured in that place. That's how long, and even before that, he has been impacting this media and entertainment industry. He is a prominent DJ. If you're in the DJ world, you want to hear this because you want to hear about the evolution of DJing within this country. Yeah, the guy has left his mark. You cannot deny the impact that he has had in the DJ world in this country. But Nabado, media and entertainment, I'm talking about being a media personality, being on TV, tick, he has done that on one of the biggest TV stations in the country. This guy was there, doing it, impacting, shaping the industry. When it comes to eventing, Akondani. When it comes to audio engineering, we're talking about not just from a music production perspective. I'm not just talking about music. I'm talking about also films. He has got international experience in this. But I don't just want to introduce him on the basis of his credentials, because I can go on and on and on and on and on and on and on. I want to say this. This is an amazing human being. It is no coincidence that this is our first guest after a whole year. It is not coincidence. Many other people have asked to be on this platform, and I keep saying, wait. He didn't ask. I am the one who approached him. And therefore, it makes no coincidence that he's here. I am absolutely honored and blessed that he'll be our first guest. An amazing individual with an incredible story. I know you may not be in media and entertainment, but I promise you, you want to hear this life's journey. He is a father of 3, a husband to 1. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, put your hands together for none other than DJ Krowbar. I was going to say budget need tight, but God's been good. Budget need tight. We even moved to 360.
Very humbling, man.
Krowbar.
Man.
It's been a long time coming.
It's been a long time coming.
But the last time we met and you were telling me about CTA, did you think you would have been here?
No.
I didn't even think you would have been here.
Even me. I just knew at God's perfect timing, it will align, and look at us, man.
Look at us.
Here we are.
I've tried my best with breakfast. Normally, I have guys hosting it, but how was it?
Tumefinya hapa. There's a lot to demolish. We just stared at the food here.
Okay. Guys are looking at me like, we're on a bonga excess.
Yes.
Get into the story.
All right.
Krowbar, this is CTA.
Yes.
We're just going to talk. I have no idea when we're going to finish this
Me,
conversation.
I'm a fan of this show.
So,
I know the rules here.
You know the rules, eh?
I love your show.
So let me start it. I'm excited to ask this question after a year.
Whew, yes.
Krowbar.
Yes.
When did you fall in love with music?
When I was a kid. When I was a kid. Mm-hmm. But I have to give you context. Let's begin by when I was born.
Birth. Let's start it from birth.
Birth.
See, birth.
So I was born at 3 a.m. on the 5th of April 1985 at Kenyatta Hospital. So I was born then, it's my mom, Margaret Wanjiru Karumba. And after staying a few months, I went to live with my grandparents then, my late grandparents now. So stayed with them for like two and a half, maybe three and a half there.
Yes.
Yes. I stayed in Shags, Hapa, Gatondo, in Kiambu.
You're born in Nairobi?
I was born in Nairobi.
And your mom is
Yes,
Nairobi.
my mom is at that point, was a prisons officer in the prisons officer radio room department. Yes. So because of work, I went and lived with my grandparents.
And now you go to Gatondo?
Yes, so I lived in Gatondo for about 3 years. So a funny incident happened for me to come and now live with my mom. So when I was in the village, when I was in the village and I was washed as a kid, in the kitchen area, we used to have this huge form where you would sit next to the 3-stone fire, and then I would dry on the front part. Then I would turn around to dry at the back part. Remember, I'm stuck naked as this is happening. And so now an accident happened during that point. So when I turned back to dry on my back, I noticed the form was swinging. And so I started swinging on the form, and one thing led to another, and I fell into the big sufuria that was in the fire.
What?
Yes, so me falling into there ended up becoming an emergency. So I was rushed to Gatondo Hospital. From Gatondo Hospital, a few checkup, then I was rushed to, by then, the Memorial Hospital, the one inside DOD, the public would come. It was it is a Kenya Army-based hospital, but it was open to the public then in the 80s. But now it's no longer open to the public. It's just limited to military personnel and their families. And so I was rushed there, and I stayed there for like a month, healing, because my whole back got burned and one of my butt cheeks.
You're 3 at the time.
Yes, I was about 3.
So you I mean, like you can. It sounds like you remember all this.
No, I don't remember all this.
Okay, you're just your
I
mom.
remember being in the hospital. The story I was later stitched on as I was growing up. Yes, I was told what happened and stuff.
Okay.
And this led to
Do you still have scars from that?
Yeah, yes, they are very tiny. They are very
Kwa
on one butt cheek.
kuna kasamura eggs.
Kuna kalini
One
hapa
dark
and my
cheek,
back over
one
here.
butt cheek looks a bit tanned.
That's a good one. I like it. And so I know that's a joke for the year now for me. Like, I'm sure everyone will go like show me that butt cheek. Let's go on. So after that, what happened was after that accident, my mom said, "You are not going back to Shags. You are moving in with me." And so that's when I moved in with my mom.
And at this time, are you the firstborn?
Yeah, I'm the first.
You're the firstborn, huh?
Okay. Technically, I'm a firstborn, and I'm an only child. The story goes on.
Kuna sound kama kuna ka blendedness in
Hey, kuna blendedness. You're a blended family.
Okay.
And so here
So
I
you
am.
move back now with your mom.
Now I move with my mom.
So if you're born in 85
yes.
and now you're saying you're about 3.
This is about 3, or that is about 88, 89 there. So I moved back with my mom. And I remember when I moved, I remember the first time I entered my mom's house, I'd never seen a light bulb, because in the village we did not have electricity. And I remember seeing a light bulb, and I remember saying in Kikuyu, "Hey mom, see, there's a moon over there." My mom laughed for days on that one. Because my mind could not conceptualize a light bulb.
Lights.
It was like, what is this thing in the house? And it's on the roof. Because light for me was on the table, a kerosene lamp. So the mind readjusting to seeing light on top was just a whole new phenomena for me at that point. So there I moved in. So when I moved in with my mom, that's where the music thing came in. Because my mom had a radio and had many cassette tapes. Of the many that she had, was it 2? We had Thriller and we had, what was the other Michael Jackson album? Bad and Thriller. And my mom had a huge Michael Jackson poster in our house. My mom was an MJ fan. And so I remember every day I would come home in the evening, the first thing that would happen is mom would turn on the radio. And so that was when I fell in love with music. Now, during that particular stage...
Question, let me just ask.
Yes.
I've not heard you say dad.
My dad comes on later on. I'm going to tell you at what point he comes on.
But at this time,
he's
it's just
there.
you. Oh, he's
but
there.
I'm a kid, but it's not making sense. I'm going to give you context. I'm going to give you context. So here I am. I'm living with my mom. I'm adjusting to this. My mom, at that point in the 80s and early 90s, my mom used to sing in the famous Prisons Choir. If you're of my age, you know all national events, the closing act was the Prisons Choir. And my mom used to sing in the choir.
You know, I didn't understand how fundamental choirs, and especially prison choirs, were until I interviewed Kaberia, and he explained to me the history of choirs and Moi era and how every like that.
Well, yeah, man.
Can you explain it to guys just in case people?
For people who don't know,
from your understanding,
from my perspective, anytime there was literally any national event, Madaraka Day, Jamhuri Day, Moi Day, Kenyatta Day, those days, now they have changed.
Yep.
There used to be choirs singing a lot. And I remember when I was a kid, all these people singing in choirs would come with their kids. So we would all go there. All these choir people are government employees. Yeah. So all of us, we find ourselves at either Nyayo Stadium or Kasarani, one of those two places. just sitting around there as our parents are singing to the president. That was our life. And so after I think my mom did choir up to 1992, I think it's because you've mentioned my dad. I had a chat with my dad, and when my dad was a teenager, my dad used to be in a band. He used to sing band. And that story flips later on. And either way, we'll get there. And so that's how music entered into my life in the late 80s and early 90s. And I remember around in the early 90s when the first ever, was it early 90s or mid 90s when the first ever FM station opened? Because we were both on KBC English or KBC Swahili service. Yep. I remember me and my cousin used to do KBC English service, and there used to be a show that would happen on Saturday nights, and it was by, what is Grace Msalame's dad?
Tony Msalame.
Tony Msalame.
Shikilegi, no, this even before that.
It used to be at night. Yeah. It used to be a night show. And I remember Tony Msalame would do lyrics of new songs, and that's how we would learn new songs. I remember me and my cousin, Akina Judy, Olivia, Jane, Caris would be at night when we visit each other and just listen to Tony Msalame at nights.
Yo.
Akimanzi. And so that's how music now entered into my life. And I remember the first time Metro FM opened.
Wait, a couple before me.
Yes.
Explain to me your environment, because your mom is working at the prisons.
Yes.
So does that mean you guys are living around there in the
very good question. Yes. So most police officers, prison officers, military officers, whatever, all of them live in a camp together. So if there is, for example, my mom is a prisons officer.
Yes.
So if there is a prison anywhere, there are officers living within the same compound where the prison is.
Yeah.
Is that making sense?
Yes.
Basically servicing that particular premises. And so in this particular case, when I moved into Nairobi, my mom used to live at the Nairobi West prison.
Oh.
Okay. Then at around 1992, she was transferred to industrial area prisons.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, like, you seeing John Kiriamiti was normal.
No. This is funny, but the first time I entered a prison, I was a solid grown-up. Well over 25. I was doing prisons ministry.
Yeah, but we'll get there.
Yeah.
Okay, so before that, you've not at least seen the black and white.
Before that, we used to see them outside when they used to work, like clean the compound, the roads, the stuff, cut grass, do this. We would see them, but would not go inside.
Okay, yes. So tell me then about this environment, because I'm sure that environment of growing up around kids whose family is involved in prisons. Yes.
Kids
tell me about that environment.
That environment in the like industrial area where we were kids, it was a very playful event. Remember, when you work at for the government, we have ranks. So we have high-ranking officers going all the way down.
Yes.
So the lower you are in the rank, the smaller the house you live in. The higher you are in the rank, the bigger of the house you live in. That's how it just works, standard across the government. And at that point, my mom was a constable. So we would live in a shared house. A shared house is you get a one-bedroom house, and so one family lives in the bedroom, one family lives in the sitting room, and then you share the kitchen.
You're joking.
Yes. It was normal. It wasn't even a big deal for us.
Yo.
For real. It is now that I'm a grown-up that I'm seeing it like that, but as a kid, that was just standard.
That's what you know. It's like the way you didn't know
and all of us, majority of us lived that life. And so there was no judgment amongst other kids because we are
everyone is surrounded.
Remember, and then there are officers who are living in mud houses, there are officers living in mabati houses, and there are officers living in stoned houses.
You know why this thing is so we hear this,
yes,
but you can understand the effects of corruption,
yes,
with hearing this. Because and from a cop's perspective,
yes,
you're here, and sorry, my mind has just
opened up into some ways.
yes, in that city,
yes.
Because if you're telling me somebody's living in a mud hut, but they're stopping a guy who has done, he skipped the lights.
Yes.
He's driving a Prado.
Yes.
And that Prado guy tells him, I'll give you 2 Gs.
Yes. That's a big deal.
So there has to be a standard.
Yes.
If your living conditions, you're not going to make that kind of money.
Yes.
Like, come on.
To readjust. So, very true. But now, prisons officers don't deal with the public.
Yes, of course, because that's prisons officers.
Yeah. Or it's the
but
police.
I'm sure even police are like that, the same way.
Same case. The same case translates in the police, in the GSU, translate. It's just that in the military it doesn't. Military is just it's a different ballgame.
Okay, so
military officers, even lowest rank, live really decently. Yes.
Okay, keep telling me about this
environment.
Yes.
So
it's you and your mom living in the sitting room?
It's me and my mom living in one bedroom. I remember we were sharing a house with Akina Vicky. Okay, so it's the first family we shared with was Patrick and Jane. So me and my mom were living in the sitting room. Patrick and Jane were living in the bedroom, and then we would share the kitchen. And then at that point, we used to live with my mom's smaller sister. So her bed was in the kitchen. My mom's smaller sister, her name was Auntie Mogos at that point. And so that was just standard life.
And
Showering, the toilets were outside. So when you go, it's like a flat like this, and then there are 4 houses. And then on the sides of the houses, there are 3 toilets, 3 bathrooms. So you have a key where you share the toilets and bathrooms.
But then between all these, between these,
between these all flat.
Okay,
yes.
understood.
So that is how we lived.
Okay, but I'm trying to also to see the other side. First and foremost, it means you suddenly get a new family.
Yes.
The way you're talking about these guys, it's like it's your
they become your friends. They literally become your families. Like, I can't remember the last time we saw Patrick and Jane. I remember the next family we shared a house with was Vicky and Kare with their mom. You know, the other families we shared with was Martha and Purity and their brother Young. Then from there, my mom had advanced in rank. Then we never shared a house again. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. But those 3 families, literally, they are my family.
And tell me about the play area. Now meeting other people your age in that.
That was just
community.
It is a huge community.
I can imagine. Man.
It is a huge community. If you go to industrial area, there are hundreds of officers living there. Yeah. So that means if there are hundreds of officers, that means you have to multiply it by 2 or by 4 to get a nice population. So it's well about 1,000 people living within that community. And like over half of that community is kids.
Yep.
So it is a huge kids community.
Nice.
And so we grew up well, sharing bikes, running around. It was just,
and
it was a
nice
space. Youthful.
You know,
there was a lot of
the
space.
Things that we don't understand
and
is
security.
Luxury. Oh man!
Because nothing can happen to you when you're inside a camp. You can go to the other end of the camp, and you know your kids are safe because they can't get out of the camp.
Yeah.
They can't.
That is beautiful.
Yeah. So we grew up well in a nice place, and me, I loved living in industrial area. I also loved we lived in 3 prisons. So Nairobi West, industrial area, and Thika prisons. But we'll cover them as you go into this journey.
This story long.
Yeah. So I remember it's just that you've mentioned about chums. When my mom was a constable, the first school she took me was a private school. And maybe you know it, it's known as Malezi Preparatory. It used to be up on Langata, and it's a really, really good school. So back then, even though the salary was little, it could sustain an officer really well.
Nice.
And
yes.
That my mom could afford to take me to Malezi Preparatory School. It was until I got to, when I was transitioning from class 1 to class 2, it got a bit pricey for her.
Okay.
And then she went like, kid, you have to go to a public school.
Okay.
And then from there, that's when I went to Nairobi South Primary School. And in Nairobi South Primary School...
Is that the one where Bonnie was... That's not the one, eh?
No.
Okay.
I'm going to give you a crazy story.
Okay, sir. Nairobi South.
Nairobi South Primary School hit differently for me because it's a public school, but it had a mixture of Indians. It was just like Malezi. It was just like Malezi. Malezi was a mixture of Indians, white and black kids.
Whoa.
When we went to Nairobi South Primary, a government school, it was predominant. It was black predominant and Indians.
And it's in Nairobi
and
South?
Arabs. Yes, it's here in South B.
Okay.
It's here in South
Okay.
B. Yes. So there was a good school. I was an average kid. We used to have like about 40 guys in class. I used to be an average performer, anything between 18 and 23 there. Continued. Around something very interesting happened around either between class 3 and class 5. I remember there were some 2 tall boys who were in class 7 or class 8 at that point. And these 2 boys were very famous in our school because everyone knew them, even me, I knew them. It was later on when I was in high school, I realized one of those boys was Red Sun. Bro, I was like, what? I remember the first time I saw his video, I went like, I was with this guy.
Yeah.
I was with this guy. This guy was in, I think, class 8 when I was in 4 or 3.
What year did you go to?
I went to Nairobi South in 1992 in class 2.
Class 2.
Menishika in class 2. Was it? No. Was it in class 1? Yeah, class 1. No, class 2, 1992. Yes. That's when I went. So tukakapo 92, 93, 94, 95, 96. And then around 97 there, my mom was given a transfer.
Okay. Primary.
Yes.
What did that do for you? How was that? How was that experience?
Primary was good for me. I never struggled with anything. It was really nice. It was a very cosmopolitan environment with Christians, Muslims, and Indians. So it was a good environment for me. I never struggled. With school with anything. School was nice. Nairobi South is a good school to go to. Highly advised. It's a good public school, even up to today. I don't know how it's doing today, but back then, it was a very solid place to be in. I even actually, there was a guy I met, we were with primary at Nairobi South, and he stopped me in the city. So I thought he stopped me because he knew me as Krowbar.
Yeah.
He didn't. Yeah. He knew me as Karumba. So the guy is
government names are?
Frederick Karumba Ngatia. So this guy stops me and says, I know you. So in my mind, I go like, okay, maybe he knows me as a DJ. I go like, oh man, awesome, man, pleasure to meet you. My name is Karumba or DJ Krowbar. Also, what's your name? And then he's, oh, you're DJ Krowbar. I'm like, yeah. See, you won't believe this, man. My name is, I can't remember his name, but he's a senior lecturer at UON. He teaches architecture. And then he tells me, I remember you because I have a photographic memory.
Nice.
I don't forget anyone I meet in life. And I met you when we were in Nairobi South. And that's how I've seen you and it has clicked. It is you. And he said, your name is Frederick, right?
Freddy!
Boss.
It blew your mind, huh?
This guy blew my mind, man. Had a nice chat with him, exchanged numbers, and then we left. So we went to Nairobi South. And so we did that. I did Nairobi South up to class 6. So I did class 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then at the end of class 6, my mom got a transfer to go to Thika prisons.
Ooh.
Yeah, so I did 7 and 8 when we lived in Thika.
Okay.
So in class 7 and in class 8, what happened was I went to another school in Thika town known as Mugumoine Primary. Yeah. So Mugumoine Primary for me was a very interesting environment for me.
How was the change like?
It shifted my mind completely. Remember, I'm in a school where people speak English or Sheng or Swahili.
Yeah.
And then I go to this school and during break, people are speaking in Kikuyu.
Ooh.
It was a huge curveball for me. And my Kikuyu is terrible.
Trust me.
Oh my God.
It can't be bad.
I don't know if for mine it's like that too. But man, hanging out with these guys was difficult at first. But something flipped when I went to that school. Remember when I was at Nairobi South, I used to be an average kid. Remember those days, total grades were 700, right? I used to be a guy who used to score 350, 380 there. So I was solid average student. I go to Nairobi South. I go to Mogumoine. I see their last term performance. I see the guy who's at the top of the list scored a 380.
What?
So my mind goes like, what? I am bright. Notice.
Yes.
So it shifted my mind. It goes like, what? I am bright. I never thought I was bright. But that transfer shifted my mind, because out of me changing my perception, I started performing better.
Oh, that is so deep.
For real, it flipped my course. I went from 300s, I started entering 400s, 400s tops, I started hitting 500s. By the time I was doing my class 8, I had a 500. It shifted my mind completely. I remember when I was a grown-up reading a book by Max Gladwell, and he said that if you feel like you're struggling with these bright people, just go to a lower tier school and your confidence will boost. If going to UON is messing you up, try a lower university and you will thrive. Because you will see yourself like you are really, really brilliant.
You know, it's first and foremost, you've blown my mind.
Yes.
Like I've never had somebody say this. Like me, my whole primary life.
Yes.
I felt very average. I was with guys who, in fact, I felt below average.
Yes.
And yet I'm doing 490s. Because in the school,
because the school was intense.
We had guys who had 630,
Oof.
600,
Yes.
whatever.
That was Nairobi South for me.
And there's somebody who's also said to me, sometimes drive in a place where people have less than you.
Yes.
If you're feeling like you know, just to understand your blessings, it's like sometimes you take a drive to Kibera, if you live in whatever it may be, and you'll realize, oh shucks, there are people who have it worse than me. But he also says take a drive to a place where people have it better than you.
Yes.
So I really like what you've said.
Yes.
I've never thought of it from a perception of grades positively.
Yes.
You see, you're saying being taken to a place where you are performing better.
Yes.
It changed your mind perception.
It changed how I viewed myself completely.
And that perception made you perform better.
Made me perform better. For real. Made me perform better. And out of that, actually, my mom, the moment my mom noticed I am now excited with school, she actually started paying extra tuition classes for me.
Okay, so what was exciting you in school? Was it arts? Was it everything? Miss Swahili never excited you.
I would just feel that the moment I remember seeing that list flipped me completely. I remember going home and telling my mom, Mom, you won't believe this. I'm bright. That's the first thing I told her. I am actually a bright guy. The top student there got a 380. And I came there with a 377. I'm a bright guy. And my mom went like, okay, do you want help with your studies? And then I said, yes. And then she started paying tuition for me. And that just flipped my mind.
In at this time,
yes.
is there, you see the beauty of
yes.
700, when Max used to be out of 700.
Yes.
Like I really have respect for the schooling system then, as much as I didn't used to. I thought it was, KCP wasn't the best.
Yes.
Now is when I'm looking at it, I'm like, hold on, there were some very amazing elements of it. When it was 700, you had art and crafts.
Yes. And
you had
music.
science.
Yes.
You had music.
Yes. And business studies.
Business studies.
Yes.
There's so many courses that you had that opened up your mind. You had
CBC
CRE.
has that now.
Oh, CBC has that now.
Has that now, yeah. My kids are doing CBC and it has that now.
Oh, they're back.
Yes, they're back.
It's not like when it went to 5 SOC.
No.
You get.
Yes.
But so for you, was there, like me, I really didn't do well in Swahili.
Yes.
Art and craft and music?
Yes. Or which subjects did I do well with?
I
was good in math. I was really good in math. And I think math is the one that I know I really stood out well. My languages were not that well. This is very interesting, knowing that I ended up as a communicator. Oh, man. This story changes. But I was good in math and I loved sciences. I loved sciences. I loved agriculture, funny enough. And I loved art and craft. I didn't love music
we even
that
had
much.
Agriculture.
Yes, we had agriculture.
I've just, yeah.
And I remember I made a rake for my end of year exam.
I remember growing tomatoes
Honor.
and learning pruning.
Yes.
Imagine it still sticks
We
to
made
you.
a rake, and I remember I raked the school farm at Mogumoine
That's
for part of my project.
So, is your heart beginning to be pushed because of school in a certain direction, or right now you're just about passing exams?
No. For now, I'm just doing life. Remember, life is happening. The music part is intensifying slowly.
We're coming to that
Yes,
element
yes.
okay, actually, let's get there now.
Yes.
So I get your school life. I've understood it.
Yes.
I've understood those transitions.
We're still in primary, but now how is the music
Yes.
intensifying?
Because now let's talk about media.
Yes.
Because you had mentioned earlier on Metro FM.
Metro.
Okay, first of all, you mentioned Tony Msalame.
Yes, Tony Msalame.
And the evening show where lyrics were happening.
That show.
You've mentioned Michael Jackson and
Yes,
Bad. So let's now enter
into what I was consuming around that era.
TV.
There we
Yes,
go.
yes.